and I can send you the file.
Okay. Did you want to do a Swapcast thing? Because I was checking out.
Maybe we could do that. Yeah, mine's very specific. Like the comedy doesn't interest the filmmakers as much.
Well,
we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I've made some films.
I didn't Google you then. Let me get to Corey Castle. Fuck, man, I'm embarrassed. But I mean, I'll promote this. Are you also a wrestler?
Yeah. That's right. Yes.
Oh, were you in Colt's movie?
No, I actually have never met Colt. We just started chatting online, but
you heard it. You heard of it.
We know each other. I know him. Yeah.
Oh, I remember you from Dark Military.
Did you watch that movie?
Screen. No, I'm just looking right here.
I was gonna say,
wow, you've been in a lot of stuff, man. Dark Military. You played Griffin. Look at this. Mar of Easton. That sounds like a foreign film.
Mayor of Easttown. It's like a new HBO series.
On IMDb it says Mare.
I think it's called Mayor. Like a
Mayor of Easton. You're a churchgoer. Recurring character. Oh man, you've done some stuff. This is great. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We do a simulcast. And then you were in The Wrestler as a wrestler. Todd Barry was in that. Have you had him on the show?
I've never met Todd Barry. I don't know.
You should have Todd Barry on the show.
I would love to.
I bet he would talk about The Wrestler with you.
Yeah, that would be lots of fun.
Wow, you're ripped in some of these pictures.
Well, you know, the lighting is good and all that stuff.
Body paint.
Yeah, we got a several.
Have we started the show yet, Corey? That's what I want to know.
Well, you know, let's.
Are you going to edit it? Let's start the show.
Hello. Welcome.
Hey.
Episode 170. Jordan Brady. Brady.
You might want to do that intro over. That was a fuck up, man.
Yeah.
I'm the guest. I'm guest 170. Hold on. I'll get an instrument too. Hold on.
I'm leaving all this in, dude. I'm leaving it all in. Let the F-ups be what they are. It's all an evolving process, you know? Jordan Brady, episode 170, Evolving with Corey Castle. Filmmaker, podcaster. Dude, you're doing, like, seminars on how to be a filmmaker in commercial shoots for, like, a living now, right? That's, like, what the theme of the seminar thing you're doing?
I do a commercial directing boot camp that teaches filmmakers, not just somebody off the street that's like scratching their ass going, I want to be a filmmaker. It's people that are working in the industry, how they can up their game and make a living directing commercials like I do. The seminar's a hobby.
Okay. Boot camp, seminar. Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah, boot camp, seminar, workshop. You can call it whatever you want to call it.
I mean, it's a craft, you know, it's a skill. Like that's a flexed muscle for sure.
It is. You got to log your 10,000 hours, as they say.
So,
are you really high right now?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. You're straight. You're just happy.
No, man. I'm just a hopeful guy. I'm a psyched guy. I've
normally when I Skype, I just do the audio. You know, like you and I were playing around trying to get my video working. But I love being able to see you on Skype, and listeners to your podcast, I wish you could see the smile on Corey's face. It's infectious. And here we are. I mean, I don't know when this drops, but the fucking, COVID-19 has got us all sequestered and everything. Yeah, I'm in my little office by myself, and this is great. This is lifting my spirits up.
Good, man. I was having this conversation today about, like, honestly, I don't have a humongous reach, and I don't have a humongous audience. And when I can reach out to someone and they'll reach back to me, it's like you're really trying to take a chance on me or trying to gamble, because there's not much that you can gain by being on my podcast except for having like a pretty cool uplifting time. or like a cool chat, or like maybe you met somebody new that you like, or maybe you think that like, maybe you give up hope on people being decent and you found somebody.
I found Corey Castle.
It's like some sort of resource.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and chat to both your listeners, and if they get something out of it,
there might be two. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. After
170 episodes, I would think that you have a handful. Plus, you're a working actor. I mean, so there's somebody out there going, "That's Griffin from Dark Military."
I don't know if anyone's.
That's Booley from Angry Guy 2010. You played a werewolf in Living in 8 Bits, the TV series. What was that like playing a werewolf?
It was a once in a lifetime opportunity. I gave it everything I had. I really, really. They told me to be angsty, and I threw so much angst into it, and I don't regret it for a minute.
The angsty werewolf living in 8-bit. So 8-bit's like a video game.
Yeah, it was.
You were a werewolf that came to life. Like, did video game characters come to life?
I think it was a spoof on Twilight. So there was like the long-haired Jacob character that I was doing a spoof on, and that was all it was.
Were you shirtless?
Yeah.
So you were shirtless with your wrestler body. You're like a young Adonis. And the ladies, you'll love to Google him and hit images. And then when you became a werewolf, were you fully like you were a wolf, or you were a wolf man?
I never became it. I was just you have to assume that this is what's going to become a werewolf when the moon goes up. It's the daytime now. I was a daytime werewolf.
I know, but in the story, what happened?
I don't know.
In the story where you were placed with, you never saw it?
No,
you never watched Living in 8 Bits?
No, I never saw it.
Wow. I'm going to add to my watch list.
There's a lot of things I've done that I haven't seen. Not because I'm a huge critic of my own work. It's that the work is so minute that it doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh. What's been one of your favorite credits?
The 90%, really. That's been my favorite, like one of my favorite things I've ever done.
90%.
The 90%.
You played Wally back in 2015.
Yes.
Life is 10% what happens to you, and 90% what you make of it. That's the mantra of Terrence Sullivan, played by Rick Matters. Did you know Rick, or you met him on set?
He's my best friend. Yeah.
Oh, so your best friend. He gave you the part of Wally.
No, we wrote. Me and my friend Steve wrote the movie, and we cast Rick, and like we kind of all wrote it together all at once.
Steve Dodson, that's your friend.
Yeah.
Has he been on the show?
Yeah. Yes.
What episode number?
I think it was maybe 60 or something. I don't know.
60?
It's been a while.
Your best friend is not even in the top 10.
Maybe it was 100.
He's not even listening.
He's not. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Where are you right now? Where are you right now?
I'm on my living room floor.
I mean, what state are you in?
I'm in Langhorne, PA, like suburbs of Philly.
Oh, right on. Okay. And what comedy club is there now? They got a Helium there.
Yeah.
Helium. Is that your club?
Punchline. No, I mean, I don't have a home club.
We're going to fix that by the end of the episode.
Okay.
What about Going Bananas?
Is that in Philly?
Yeah. It was like back in the day.
I never heard of it.
It's probably not there then, but it was like a little hole in the wall packed with people. It was like what you think of when you think of a club from the comedy boom.
Well, like there was
I love those kind of clubs.
The Raven Lounge was a place that I used to go to every Thursday.
Oh, I don't know that one.
And it's just like pop-up shows I'll do. The scenes at the clubs can get a little political.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
What's that?
Tell us about that. Like you got to know somebody.
It's like you got to be in with certain people, and like you sign up for the mics and don't get on, but you drove all the way down there, or like then you go to get on another mic and you got to get on at like 1 or 2 in the morning. Just things like that.
Who's left in the audience?
Nobody. Nobody. There's, hey, welcome to whatever the next day is. Hey, welcome to Thursday. Thanks for sticking out.
When I got a question for you as a young comedian, when did people, comedians, stop calling it open mic and just call it a mic? Do you think?
I think it's a branding thing, honestly. I think because if I say open mic, then it's like any asshole can do it. If I
Right.
say it's a mic, comics got to do it.
Comics got to do it. You
Right.
got to know someone. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why it's political.
Yeah, maybe. It's about perception, I guess. It's about the perception of what seems like a big deal and what seems like oh yeah, this is karaoke night for jokes. Karaoke night. Get up here, try it out.
Is that fresh off your dome right there?
Just
people
there,
say
yeah.
that? Right
Yeah,
there.
just-
That's fresh.
That was
Good
just
stuff.
fresh off the mind.
And now, when as a wrestler, did you go on the road?
Yeah, but not like a band or anything. I didn't like go on tour or anything, but it'll be like I had a show. I had a week of shows that I had to do in like Tennessee or something,
Right.
or like Atlanta, or like the last one I took a long van ride down to Nashville and took a plane ride back. So it's only, it's
With other wrestlers?
yeah.
That's good.
Van full of wrestlers. But those days are kind of behind me at this point. Like, dude, I started wrestling in 2002. As far as like as Corey Castle, I've been doing it since then. I'm 36 now. So it's like, oh, my body's been beat up for so long and I don't know how many more concussions I want.
Well, yeah, I mean, it can take its toll.
Yeah.
That the movie The Wrestler that you and Todd Barry starred in.
Yeah, we were the main guys.
We were the main guys. There's a guy. It's not the Abyss, because that's kind of a famous guy, right? The Abyss.
He's a producer in WWE now. He's a backstage producer now.
There's a guy in Ohio that I worked with on a commercial, and it sounds like the Abyss, but it's not. What was his name? I got to find that out, because he was such a nice sweetheart of a man. But, like 6'9" and no front teeth and big and little older these days.
Well, that could be Abyss. That he doesn't have any front teeth, and he's really tall and really big. He used to wrestle in a mask back in the day.
But that may not narrow it down, right? Big guy with no front teeth. That could be any. That could be any wrestler.
That's like saying the fat comic.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
The guy with the joke about the thing.
Right.
I can't find it. I was Googling, but I can't find it.
It's probably Abyss, honestly. But
yeah, he drove somewhere from in Ohio.
I'm actually doing a podcast tomorrow with my friend that lives in Ohio.
Who's
He's
that?
a wrestler. Beef Stew Lou Marconi.
That's a terrible name, Beef Stew. I'm not scared of Beef Stew. I want to hug him. I want to be with him on a rainy day, watching old movies on VHS. Beef Stew. Who's he going to wrestle? Mashed potatoes? Like mac and cheese? What kind of a wrestler name is that? Sound like an old complainer, don't I? I'm sorry.
Gravy Bomb.
Gravy. Is that his big move? The Gravy Bomb?
Here
he comes! Here comes the Gravy Bomb!
No, I don't know. I don't know any. I haven't actually met him in person. We've just had a lot of text messaging and I think we've done some FaceTiming and some podcasting previously.
Okay.
But good dude. Thoughtful guy.
That's going to be episode 171. Everybody, check it out on.
I don't think he goes by Beef Stew Lou. I think that might just be a nickname that that we call him.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like his,
No, I think that's
in
just
this
something...
corner, the Abyss, and the challenger, Beef Stew. I mean, if his name was Stew, I could almost see how that would work.
Yeah, like Stewie Griffin.
Yeah, like big Beef Stewie Griffin. Anyway.
So
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, what I know you had the I Am Comic, right? I saw that. I've seen that
available on iTunes or wherever.
I've seen that like a million times. I love that.
Oh, thank you.
I saw Road Comic.
I Am Road Comic, the sequel.
And there was another one after that I didn't.
I Am Battle Comic.
Okay. I want to unbox that a little bit because I've done a little bit of roast comedy. Very little bit. Like I've done a few here, and I did one in New York where I got destroyed.
I would be terrible at it. And you and I are nice guys. Look at that smile. Well, here's the thing. Corey. I Am Battle Comic. It kind of went unnoticed, unfortunately. And one of the reasons I think is it's a terrible name. I Am Battle Comic. I really can I curse?
Yeah. Say whatever the hell you want.
I fucked up on the name, and I thought it would be a good name because I Am Comic, I Am Road Comic, I Am Battle Comic is I went to Afghanistan and the other parts of the Middle East that I may or may not have been to Iraq, and I definitely was in Kuwait on U.S. bases performing for troops with a bunch of guys who have done it for years. And I talked to men and women, comedians that have done it, and there's interviews, and then there's the trip that I went on. So I thought, okay, that's the battle comic, right? And there's tours like Battle Comics or the Funny Forces. You know, there's all kinds of play on words for the tours that the comedians do overseas. But then as I was editing, the roast battle became a thing. You know, Jeff Ross had put that on the map.
Right.
And
so it was not a battle theme. Not a battle comedy theme.
There's no roasting in the movie. So I fucked up by naming it I Am Battle Comic. Like in hindsight, I should have called it I Am Comic Military Grade. Right. I Am Comic for the Troops edition.
I Am Comic Hear Me Roar in parentheses.
That would work.
Or Hear Them Roar, like the audiences.
Oh, see, I like where you're going with that.
Like, got a lot of double meanings there.
So, what do you want to unbox?
I wanted to know what it was, if it was about like battle rap or battle comics, like and about like following that sort of stuff. Because I know
that would have been a great documentary.
Yeah, because
that would have been a better received documentary. Because the bottom line, Corey, is people say to the veterans, you know, when they come home or they see someone active duty at the airport. I myself do it. I go, thank you for your service.
Right.
But then what do people do after that? Do they give a shit beyond thank you for your service? Are they really donating to the USO or to their local veterans charities? Do they give the guy that's homeless? You know, so many homeless veterans on the streets of Philly. There must be homeless veterans. Do people give a couple bucks? I don't think they're doing it.
Right.
But I don't think people care.
I think it's a level of like empathy that people lack. Because for sure, I've had long ass conversations with vets, and I wanted to get inside their heads about like how they live through it, how they sleep at night, and like how they deal with the flashbacks. And like I know a friend of mine whose neighbor does MDMA to deal with the flashbacks and the PTSD, because I know as a wrestler that I'm a warrior. You know what I mean? I had to fight in front of people, and I have my PTSD through my head traumas and my concussions that are stuff I have to live with now.
You also played a war veteran in The Post,
right?
In the 1917 Tom Hanks movie. Wow.
LIP.
LIP, what's that mean?
Live in peace. Keep on living.
Oh,
Tom,
yeah.
with his corona.
He's doing okay, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. Tom Hanks seems like such a good guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he's just acting like he has the coronavirus, to put a name on it. To put a name on it in America. That's how good he is. And if there's ever a movie about the coronavirus, Tom Hanks would play the guy.
Yeah. He's the Sully of the coronavirus.
He is. He might even play the fucking virus for all I know. He's the only one I know that could act that well that he would play like this. I'm a virus. I'm Corona.
Dude, did you see? And forgive me if you know people who made this movie, and if they listen to your podcast, I don't know. But the "Won't You Be My Neighbor" or whatever that.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I watched
Was it good?
Yesterday. And in my opinion, just mine.
Corey Castle.
It wasn't
Corey
good.
Castle says thumbs down.
It wasn't good.
It didn't. It got more hype than leading up to the movie, and then once it came out, I didn't hear the buzz anymore.
It wasn't even about Mr. Rogers. It was about the Esquire article writer guy. It was not, and it was just like Mr. Rogers happened to be in it. Like I thought it was going to be more of a origin story of Fred Rogers and involve the trials and stuff that he went through.
And that documentary had just come out.
Right. Yeah, I thought this was trying to capitalize off of that.
Yeah.
But it really just was when Wile E. Coyote puts out the little piece of hair with the spit.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It was just like that didn't matter.
That was a great analogy.
And I had just watched Kidding. Have you watched Kidding?
Kidding?
Jim Carrey's special.
Oh, Jim Carrey Showtime? Is it a Showtime show?
Yeah.
I've only seen a little bit of it. He plays a Mr. Rogers-like character.
Right, adjacent to Mr. Rogers. And that show is great. And the character's so nuanced, and a little bit of what Tom Hanks was doing in this movie was like what character Jim Carrey's playing as Mr. Pickles on Kidding, but it wasn't enough to make me go, wow, this is a good movie.
I love Jim Carrey. I remember when he started. He's a nice guy. I've run into him just a few times over the years since his meteoric rise to fame. But a lot of your listeners right now are going, Corey, did you just call Jim Carrey nuanced? Because they think of Fire Marshal Bill and Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. But if you watch the Majestic or the one where it was the
Eternal
fake
Sunshine.
world, Eternal Sunshine, that's one of my favorite movies. Mm-hmm. And I think that director Michel Gondry is behind the show. Truman Show. That's the one.
So good.
It's nuanced. Yeah. He's playing the dude that's inside another dude who doesn't know he's part of another world.
It's like Westworld before Westworld ever came out.
Yeah. The TV show, because you do know that Westworld was a movie.
I know it was a movie way back.
With Yul Brynner.
I liked the first season of Westworld immensely. Like I was
the second one was like cuckoo, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't. They
were on the puff back over in the writers' room.
It was like once they broke out of the game, it was like, what's happening now? I don't know if I want to really pay as much attention.
Now they have Jesse Pinkman,
right?
He plays Jesse Pinkman.
Does he?
It's like that same brooding character.
Just a meta version.
Yeah. And they got him sitting on a girder with a robot. It's kind of kooky.
I saw him in a movie yesterday. It was my sister's birthday yesterday, and she wanted to watch Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart. And Jesse Pinkman was in that as well.
How many movies has Kevin Hart and The Rock made together? I think 17.
I mean, you're the expert, dude.
I'm not the expert.
You're more the expert on film than me.
No, I'm just a guy trying to avoid the coronavirus.
Right.
What was it like on the set with Tom Hanks?
People being nerds. People being like, there he is. There he is. Let's go take a picture with him. Like, what are you doing? You're getting a paycheck to be here. Like, it was just weird.
Did you shoot that in Philadelphia?
No, that was New York. That was a
New
New
York
York.
City.
Yeah, I go back and forth to New York like pretty often.
And you work all the time. Look at this. Gotham, you played F-wing inmate in the episode Wrath of Villains Prisoners. What was the audition for F-wing inmate?
There's no auditions for extras. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. That's what it says, uncredited.
No, it's just extra work, dude. It's just background.
Okay, but what about the Blacklist? You were a pool player.
Yep.
That was
No
background?
audition. No audition for that. Just
But someone
background.
had to call you and say, "Hey, he's got a good look." They're going off your look.
No, barely, dude. I think it's just a database, and I happen to be available. I don't think that there's anything to do with look. And I think, the background work is like most of what I've done, which I want to get out from, of
Right.
course, and step forward on that. But it's really just a database that I happen to be in, and a lot of it's like, oh, you're a long-haired guy. We can make you look like you're from the '70s. I've done that like 100
that's
times.
probably a good one. I see Porn Distributor. That was the Deuce TV series, Porn Distributor.
Right.
The episode was My Name is Ruby. And did you watch a lot of porn and research for that role?
I studied hard.
I bet you did. You could write off your internet bill because you had to get into character for that role as Porn Distributor. And if without the internet, how would you know what porn was? What if you just came off the turnip truck, Corey?
Revolutionizing the background game. I'm a method extra.
Method extra. I like that. Let me ask you this. When you're on set, does a Corey Castle, which we know is not your real name, are you reading a book? Are you hitting on the other actors? Are you studying how the scene is lit and what the director's doing with the actor? What is Corey Castle doing on set between takes?
Well, I actually just met my girlfriend on a movie set.
Showmans.
Showmans. Yeah. The Halle Berry movie shot in Atlantic City. It's called Bruised.
Ooh.
And I played
in post-production.
I played her fight security that walked her down to the octagon when she was like going to do a UFC fight. And my girlfriend was just an audience member, and just work on character work with like jokes, like characterizations and stuff like that with strangers, and see, I like to meet interesting people. I've met a lot of really interesting people on movie sets who I've had on my podcast.
Oh, wow. That's good.
The very interesting part about Philly extra work and background and New York City background, not as many people have podcasts as you'd assume. Like
1 in 4.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people I know in real life don't have a podcast.
That's true. Well, they have jobs and they have families. They have things to do. You and I have podcasts because look at us. We're crazy. But Corey, let me ask you, how was Halle Berry to work with? Was she nice to you?
She was really nice. Yeah.
I think she's in her 70s and her body is, smoking hot. I think she's an incredible actor and just a wonderful person. But I think she's 72 years old and it looks like she's 28.
Yeah. She's in phenomenal shape right now. Like she's been
I don't think she's 70s, by the way. I'm kidding. But she is in her late 40s or early 50s.
I'm yes-ending you right now.
Oh, okay, cool. No, but I was kidding, but she's at least 49 or 50 and she's in great shape. And she plays this fighter in your film Bruised.
Right, my film. I'm taking
hey, you got to own it. It's the Corny Castle show.
Right. So she was on like a liquid diet, and she's like MMA trained now, and she's like a martial artist, and she was performing her ass off, and she was like living on those like BCAAs, the amino energy drinks.
Oh wow.
So it was
BCAAs. I'd never heard of that.
BCAA. Have you ever seen?
No.
It's amino energy. It's usually helps with your digestion and digestive health.
I don't know if I could handle an all liquid diet. That might give you the squirts.
You probably.
I don't even want to imagine Halle Berry with the squirts. That's disgusting. But did you see her in Razorfish? I mean, everybody saw Monster Swordfish. What was Razorfish?
That's something you made up.
That's something I made up. We all saw her in Monsters Ball. We saw too much of her in Monsters Ball.
I think Razorfish is it's like one of those underwater electric scooters. It's a Razorfish.
Good riff.
Yeah, Swordfish. I remember. That's the only part of that movie I remember.
So when you're an extra and you're on set, you're flirting. You met your girl, not anymore because you met your girlfriend.
Right.
I mean, you got to agree with that on the podcast. And you're meeting the other actors.
She won't listen to any of my podcasts. She doesn't like podcasts.
My wife doesn't even know I do a podcast.
She has had enough with me, like as far as like my riffing and my in general conversations. She's like, yeah, not everything has to be something. Just stop.
Did she think you were funny at first?
Yeah. Well, she still thinks I'm funny, but there's the limits.
My kids give me the less is more, Dad.
Right.
Or is that some of your 90s humor, Father? Now, so you like the extra work. It pays pretty good. You get a good meal. They eat great. You're not just doing like backyard productions. You're in real stuff. So they have a good caterer is what I'm getting at.
Right.
And you're having fun. How old are you now?
I'm 36.
Barely 36. And you're having fun. But how do you balance the wrestling with the acting?
Well, the wrestling I'm kind of more an observer of these days as much. Okay. I'm not really out there on shows as much anymore. Like I cut back. I like to say I have one foot in the ring and one not. Mm-hmm. So I went from wrestling like 3 or 4 days a week to like 2 or 3 days a month.
Yeah. That was like when I left stand-up comedy to be a filmmaker. I had a problem not letting go, but I had a problem with how guilt-free I was. I was okay, like something that I wanted to do all my life, I had done, and then I got to a point where I was more interested in something else. So did you grow up wanting to be a wrestler as a kid?
I grew up, the first thing I wanted to be when I was a kid was a stand-up comedian.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but I thought I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, a rock star, and a pro wrestler. I have no musical ability at all. The wrestling, I found that when I was like 12. And then I found a place where I could learn how to do it when I was like 14. So wow. I bit that bait hard as a youth. And I started doing open mics like 2008 or 9.
Okay, so, your early 20s.
Yeah. So I never went like, I want to be this thing and I'm only going to be this thing. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be everything I want to be. I'm trying to do this new bit on stage where I talk about, Chris Jericho. Do you know who that is?
Sure. I know who he is. I don't know him though.
He's like my all-time favorite wrestler. He's like my biggest inspiration. He's an author. He's an author. He's an actor. He's a rock star. He's a pro wrestler, and he's got an amazing podcast. He has a band called Fozzy, and their biggest hit song right now is called Judas. And the words of the song, he says, what have I become now that I've betrayed everything I've ever loved and pushed them all away? I have been a slave to the Judas in my mind. Is there something left of the wreckage of my life? And I'm like, Jude, you got 3 beautiful kids and an amazing wife and a great marriage. You've been a millionaire since the 90s. I don't know if there's wreckage in your life.
Well, you never know what's going on inside a brother's head.
You're right. Exactly.
Look, Anthony Bourdain, I watched the show. It seems like he was going around the world eating great food. What a job.
Right.
Killed himself. You never know what's going on in someone's head.
That was in Chappelle's last special. Did you see?
He did. Yeah, he opened with something like that.
Yeah.
I think he did that to like test the limits and set the pace.
Yeah,
He set the bar for his audience right out the gate. Yeah.
right. When he did the whole referee shirt guy at Foot
Yep.
Locker, the urban genius.
Well, so what you're doing is so now you're pursuing comedy and leaving the wrestling behind. You're okay with leaving the wrestling behind.
I mean, I'm not all the way okay with it. It's
okay.
It's
But how do you pick up gigs? Do they call and go, Corny, we need you? I threw the corny in there because I thought that would be funny in the context of a wrestler promoter. That's a little bit of my comedy. No, hey, Corny, we need you. We got a match in Lancaster.
No, I mean, it's all about how what your reputation is and who you have relationships with and who you continue to have relationships with, and where the storyline's going and where you can fit in and be valuable. It's the same way as a comedy show. It's like
as anything. Yeah. It's relationships.
Right.
I teach that at my popular boot camp, commercial directing boot camp. Now your listeners can learn more at commercialdirectingbootcamp.com, but I do talk about your reel, which is your body of work, or for a comedian, it would be your act, your relationships, and then the revenue. How bad do you need the money? And the relationships are the most important thing. I mean, you got to have good work. You got to have a good act. You got to be a good wrestler. You got to have good jokes. But the relationships, that's what makes a career.
Right. Because, did you watch Crashing?
I did.
Pete Holmes' show when he was
Yes,
he was in the
Judd Apatow series with starring Pete Holmes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's great. And the scene he does with TJ in the green room, and he's like, part of being a comic is being a good hang. Like, you got to be a good hang, dude. It's the same with anything. It's the same with do I want to have you as the top 5 people I want to hang around with? Because on occasion I'll ask myself, who are the top 5 people in my life, and do any of them want anything from me? Can they get anything besides just a good relationship with me?
That's a great criteria. We're in an era here in 2020. I'm assuming this episode comes out in 2020. Where
assuming correctly.
Yeah. The headliner, and this has been true for the last several years, but the headliner will take their own opening act on the road.
Right.
So the 2 things that have to work, well, all 3 things have to work. They have to have a good set to open the show and set the tone for the headliner to come in and kill it. That's their reel. Right. They got to have the relationship, or the dude doesn't want to hang with the other comedian.
Right.
Or I say dude, could be a woman, I don't care. And then they got to have the
ambiguous dude.
Ambiguous comedian.
Right.
Sexually ambiguous comedian can pick his or her or their opener.
Pronoun, yes.
And that works. I think it's a cool system. I wish I did comedy in the day where you could go and book your own show at a small theater, Now, you had Todd Glass on the show.
Right.
He's from Philly.
Right.
And did he talk about building a comedy club or the perfect comedy club?
Dude, he was high the whole time.
Yeah, he's very high. He's still high.
He was high the whole time.
He's a great guy, a dear friend. I've known him for 30 plus years. Worked on the road with him in I'm going to say 1983. And he was coming out of Philly. And I know I did know he was on one of your podcasts, but what made me think of that was, he's just now going out and doing his own shows, and he'll bring his opener with him.
Right. Chip?
I don't know Chip.
You don't know Chip? That's how I met Todd, was through Chip.
Is that his partner?
His opening act.
Oh, his opening act.
Yeah. So
I don't know Chip.
Chip Chantry is his name. He did an early episode of my podcast, and we did this whole riff in the beginning where he was like, I can't believe it, man. Such a good guy. Tom Hanks just came in here and gave him an hour of his time. Yeah. We just riffed on it. We're like, oh, I hope it recorded. You know what?
I'm going to call Holly Berry right now.
Okay.
And just see if we can get her to say something.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right.
Yep, it's busy.
Oh, shit.
Corona. Blame it on the virus.
Uh,
That's a funny riff. And so that's how you got Todd on the show?
Yeah, well, Todd was I think listening to that episode, and we were emailing back and forth, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, you're doing it right. You're having a good time." And I think when him and I talked, we talked about more about like the nature of compassion and sort of empathy and human interaction, things like that. It was less about comedy and more about like people lightening up and being less offended by stuff.
Oh yeah, we're in that weird culture.
Yeah, it's tough to be vulnerable.
I think you and I are pretty vulnerable. We're pretty open with each other, right?
Yeah,
we're like brothers, known each other a long time. What are you drinking there?
Black coffee.
Ooh, this late at night.
Yeah.
Well, what other questions do you have? This is your show. I feel like I've been asking you a lot of questions.
I don't have a lot of questions as much as I just want to have conversation and sort of make some cool memories and have some cool stuff for us to talk about. I mean, the world is crazy right now, dude.
Are you worried about work?
The work thing sucks. Like, honestly, the way I'm making my living right now is through the extra work and through Uber Eats. So I've been doing some Uber Eats. I just go and hand sanitize and wear gloves and stuff. But, you're only getting so much of that.
No touch drop off.
Right. You're only getting so much of that. And it
was probably more fun when they touched you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I want to be touched.
Don't we all? Well, that's cool. No, I'm a little worried because as a director, I've already had 2 jobs go away.
Right.
And I get paid per shoot day. A commercial director doesn't get like a salary, or you don't get paid for the days you prep. And you certainly don't get paid for the days where you're bidding to get a job, like the audition, quote unquote, which can take like a week or 2 of writing and phone calls and shit, pitching. So if you work for 2 weeks and you're not the one chosen to direct the commercial, you don't get shit. Jordan, but now, go ahead.
As a commercial director, do you get like a significant residual?
There's no residuals.
None at all.
You get paid once for the one day. Now it's decent paycheck.
But commercial actors get residuals.
Yes, they do. Not like in the heyday. Pre-SAG strike of 2001, residuals, you could do one day on a commercial for like a Twix candy bar and make $30,000. Now the residuals are not like they used to be. But as a director, because of the coronavirus, and I'm thankful I have my health, my kids are healthy, everybody I know is safe and staying inside, flattening the curve, the whole thing. So I don't take it lightly. But on the economic side, my jobs, the 2 that I had going, were pushed until one said April, which I know will not happen. Another one is in June, and I hope that still happens. So I'm looking at the next 2 months of just nobody physically working. Or is it like I'm going to direct through Skype? Am I going to, how am I going to work? I'm going to work with actors over Skype like this. So this is actually good practice.
I think that there's a level of a lot of people working out of a place of uncertainty and fear. But I think on top of that, people are missing human interaction. People are missing going out to eat. People are missing going out to shows. People are missing going out to clubs. So it might be a collective awakening and sort of a hopeful thing when people like I was watching some show at my mom's yesterday, and people were shaking hands and they're like, "Hey, don't shake hands!" Like it's like people miss that touch. Yeah. People miss that looking forward to going somewhere. And I was just talking about this earlier with a guest.
It's been 2 weeks.
I've been talking about this with a guest that I had earlier today. We talk about back in the day, there used to be like chair shots to the head. Back in the like in wrestling, and like when Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock were doing it,
Yeah.
there was chair shots to the head, and they stopped doing them altogether when the concussion thing was getting big. But sometimes if you still watch old wrestling matches, you'll watch chair shot to the head, and you'll I feel like that when I watch somebody shake hands or hug on TV now. Like it's the
Like,
same. Careful with that.
That handshake's like a chair shot to the head.
Right. So,
well, we all evolve. It's like if you ever watch an old movie from like the 50s, the sexist remarks that men make to women,
right,
you would roll your eyes now, or the racist things in old movies that
right.
at the time were probably innocuous.
Right.
So we do evolve, and I hope that when we come out of the coronavirus era, that I mean, because look, it's gotta at some point become in the past. Like we'll have hopefully a vaccine, the curve of dying will have quelled, and it will be another really, really bad flu. But we're not there yet. Right now, it's killing people. There was a doctor. I don't want to bum the audience out right now, the listeners, but there was a doctor.
Can you play the slide flute one more time?
Yeah.
And there's a little ding bell next to you and a banana.
We want the death rate to go, but sadly, the number of infected is going. Now, how many guests have their own slide flute, penny whistle when they do the podcast? I keep this in my office just to keep me in good spirits.
This is a real professional operation.
When I'm watching porn, sometimes I'll look at some porn and I'll just pull it out of my desk drawer and go to let myself know I'm getting an erection. Where were we? Yeah, when we get on the other side of this thing, I think people are going to want to go out to shows. Yeah. And when they get together with their friends, hopefully they'll put the fucking cell phone down. Like right now, when you go to lunch with someone, you're texting, you're down there. Like I've seen people in the middle of lunch, they're just like, yeah, I'm listening to you, but I'm texting. I did it during this Skype one time. It was my children, so that's okay.
Right.
And I'll tell people, I go, if I'm just going to look at my phone because I'm expecting my kid to call, and this is a very special thing. But I hope that people are more present when they do gather when the curfew is lifted. And I love hugging people. I'm a hugger. Yeah. If I met you, I'd be like, hey, man, we hug around here. And I give you a big old hug.
Same.
And that'll have to back off for a while, right? That's like the chair hit.
Perhaps. Right. But, it's a matter of, I think, what side of history we're going to be on. Like I was just talking about it earlier today about, I watched that 42 Jackie Robinson movie.
Oh yeah, that's a great film.
And like when he first came into the Major League Baseball, there was all the people giving him so much crap, all the like white racists. They were like, "Oh, you don't belong here." And then you watch movies back like that, and you're like, "Look at those people on the wrong side of history."
Oh yeah.
When we retell these stories of here and now, and how we are on the other end of this, what side of history are we going to be on? Are we going to be the ones whose stories are getting told, or the ones whose stories are getting told about us being wrong?
That's prophetic. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
I'll tell you how it's this is a minor thing, how it's affected me. But when I interview filmmakers for my popular filmmaking podcast, Respect the Process, which you can find on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play, wherever or JordanBrady.com.
Cut that part out.
Wherever you listen to podcasts. When I interview people, I've turned down a lot of guests because they wanted to Skype.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, man, you're across town. Like if you're in New York, and one guy was in New York and he wasn't going to come out for several months to LA where I live, I go, okay, let's Skype. And I record the Skype. Right. And invariably, their audio needs a little bit of finessing and everything. And I want the listener to have a good experience, orally and audibly. Mm-hmm. So I really didn't want to do a lot of Skype.
Right.
But in the last 10 days, I'm like, yeah, bring it on. Do you Skype? I had to. I mean, everything has been Skype with my podcast for the past couple weeks.
Yeah. That's, hopefully what this one will be. If you want to swap cast them, absolutely.
Yeah, swapcast. That's what it's called. Is that the verb?
That's what I say.
Swapcast.
I've done a ton of those because, like, I've actually, like I said, not enough people that I know have podcasts. So I will persuade my friends who I think have an amazing point of view and a great perspective to start their own podcasts. Because not only is that more messages out there to the world that are positive, that gives me another podcast to go on and be a guest. And then we can swapcast them, and it gives more content for us all.
I am going to swapcast something. I don't know if it's going to be the whole episode, because we went into some really crazy areas about Halle Berry and Tom Hanks playing the virus. I mean, there's some things that just, I want to get the ratings for you. Okay, Cornelius. Here's where our worlds intersected.
Mm-hmm.
I did a commercial, no, actually several, last fall through Christmas Eve with Goldberg.
Okay.
Super nice guy. Do you remember him? Are you old enough to know who he is?
He's the current WWE Universal Champion right now.
Yeah. And he's like 52 or 3. He's over 50.
Yeah, I know exactly who Goldberg is.
Yeah,
like, you couldn't be a wrestling fan and not know who Goldberg is.
Well, you made a funny face, and I thought, oh, boy, am I dating myself? No, I grew up knowing.
I thought it was going to be like somebody who I know personally and somebody that you know personally. I thought it was going to be that kind of connection. I was fascinated a little bit for a minute. But
sorry.
Continue. I'm sorry.
No, I know him personally now because we did the commercials for Dodge. Mm-hmm. And the most fun we had was we gave away a Dodge Challenger Hellcat Red Eye. I don't know if you're a car guy, but it was one of 5 specially built cars that they gave away. Mm-hmm. And then Goldberg and I flew to Albuquerque, had the cameras rolling. He knocked on the door, and the guy opened it and goes, Goldberg! Like, because he went, ho, ho, ho. It was Christmas Eve. It was actually a couple days before Christmas Eve.
He played the Killer Santa, too.
Yeah. He had played that in the movie. And the guy goes, horsepower! And he got his red eye, this red Dodge Challenger. It's like 580 horsepower or something like that. Yeah. And it was
Sounds like an expensive car.
It was like a $100,000 car.
Yeah.
And the guy was so surprised and so excited. And Goldberg was like, even when the camera wasn't rolling, he was so gregarious and selfless in his time with the guy. He said, get your wife out here. Bring your little kid out here. Like, he really was like a Santa Claus.
Like, such a sweet guy. He seems like such a good, like, I've heard him on other podcasts, like Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcasts. He's been on that, and the kinds of things he says about people and the kind of messages he wants to put out there, the kind of messages he wants kids to digest, it's all like very similar to what I want.
Oh, that's great. I mean, he could be a role model.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, you pluck pieces and like little parts and pieces of what you want to be as role model-y as possible, or pick and choose, cherry pick the best parts of all your role models.
You Frankenstein your role models into being the super role model. Role modeling.
Well, I've taken all those things from all my role models and made them me. So I'm the Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
That puts this platform out to the world. Hopefully, I actually was just saying earlier today that the algorithm is the universe. Like the law of attraction, the algorithm is that. You're like, the stuff you double tap and like is the stuff you're going to get more of. The same way the stuff that you thank for and that you appreciate, and the things that you talk about what you want and you feel how you'll feel when you have those things, just like The Secret. It's like that, but that's like the algorithm. So
before there was an algorithm on Twitter and there was this thing you're talking about, this spirit you're talking about, this connectivity between all of us.
Right. And this might be, this this confusing time, this pandemic, this might be the connection, that we're missing. This might be the moment of awakening. This might be the change the world needs.
I think it might be two things, by the way, Corey.
Go ahead.
It could be Mother Earth correcting itself, because if you look at this virus, the one species that is getting hit by the coronavirus is the species that's doing the most damage to the planet. You don't see a baby lamb getting the coronavirus because a baby lamb does nothing to harm the earth.
Right.
But the humans are hurting the earth.
Right.
And now the earth is going, hey, motherfuckers, let me take some of you out. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if the earth, Mother Earth, probably doesn't say bad words, but that could be.
Well, she was the original motherfucker. When they said motherfucker, they were talking about her.
They were talking about Mother Earth. The other one is, it's kind of like, and maybe what this is saying the same thing you were saying. It's like a reset button for humanity.
Control Alt Delete.
It's purge RAM.
Yeah.
It's saying, you know what? Well, I mean, I was surprised by the number of people that were hoarding the Purells and the toilet paper and it just made no sense. I told my lovely wife, why there's not a shortage on toilet paper.
She's not going to listen. You don't have to say
no, she's not going to listen. No, but I call her. I do love her.
I'm kidding.
I don't think, there was never a shortage of toilet paper.
Right.
But people started hoarding it, and therefore panic is such a seductive thing. Calm is the way to go. Calm isn't as sexy as panic.
Well, I was saying panic. people heart of frenzy. People love that shit.
Yeah.
I was in Uber in Brooklyn, and there was some fat lady beating up a gay boy in the streets, and people were hanging off of fences, going nuts to record it. I'm like, why didn't you just go, hey, break that up? But it's just like, it's easier to go crazy about it than to solve it.
And record it.
Right.
Yeah. But it does make a good tweet, fat lady beating gay boy.
Yeah.
Is the headline, right? There's so much politically incorrect in that statement.
Yeah.
So much of that is politically incorrect.
Yeah. I mean, I have nothing against either one. I mean, I was raised by an overweight woman, and my brother's a gay boy. So my mom.
Was that who was in Brooklyn?
No.
That would have been the algorithm really fucking with you.
Right.
If your mother was beating your brother and everybody had cell phones going, look at this fat lady beating this gay boy, and you were like, no, just tell him to stop it. That would have been your world in like one block.
Universe star.
Yeah.
Not world star.
Tell the kids what World Star is. Do people know what World Star is? I know. I follow the hip hop.
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure they do.
I've made a point to make sure that those things don't show up on my stories and my feed. Like I don't see anything like that. Anytime somebody tries to show me something like that, I'm like, oh, why would you think I want to see that? Like, it's like trying to show me footage of a surgery.
Beheading stuff, something. Yeah.
Right. Like a beheading. All that stuff is just like, I don't want to be. I can't get that. Seeing that back.
I'm going to say this has been a lot of fun chatting.
Yeah.
And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say I really like you, brother. You're a good person. I get that. And you have such a clean, clear light in the way you say these things. No, seriously. And I'm the same way. I have to stop following and mute or block the you won't believe what the child TV star looks like now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That kind of clickbait. Like, well, I hope they're having a good life. I don't care what they look like now. I just hope they're happy. And I get that same thing from you.
It's very like, I'm going to make you curious about a thing you didn't think you'd be curious about.
And then I got to click through 20 pictures to get to the one I like.
And it's ad revenue. It's clickbait for that reason. Clickbait and hearsay, as Marin said in his new special.
Did you like that special?
I thought it was good.
I thought it was pretty good. I actually saw him in November of last year. Dean Del Rey opened. Do you know that guy, that comedian?
No.
Yeah, he was really funny, and he's been traveling with Mark, just in like the aforementioned segment we did about touring and bringing your own opener. They've been on a tour together because they like to hang.
Great, yeah, dude. Maron's, very inspired by his podcast and very inspired by Pete Holmes' podcast, Duncan Trussell's podcast.
Yeah.
Those were things that really made me go like, yeah, why not me? Like I could do what they're doing, but I'm not them. I'm me.
You got to be you.
Yeah, I say that's why I promote my friends to also have podcasts, because it's not in direct competition with me. You're your voice and I'm mine.
Wow, that's a healthy attitude. That's a little too healthy. I'm serious. So many people think they're in competition with someone else when really we're in competition with ourselves.
Dude, the world is big enough that we can all have everything we want, and there can still be tons more for everybody else.
Rising tides lift all ships.
Yeah. My mom's been saying, like,
the fat mom. You don't call her that.
She's not fat.
And if she was, who cares? You love her. She's your mom.
She's one of them dang lesbians. One of them dang lesbians. No, but my mom's really inspired me in a lot of ways. She's, she raised three kids by herself, on welfare with MS. Like she's been down and out, and she's been, up as high and back. It's back and forth. Once you think you're there, you become a victim to something, and then the victim mentality takes you over, and then toxic
Not your
issues.
mom.
My mom, that's, it happens for moments, but
yeah,
we bounce back. But she said to me recently, and this is something I've been quoting a million times, is like, you can take a spoonful and take 1 million spoonfuls out of the ocean, and the ocean's still the ocean. So let's stop limiting what we think we can do by comparing ourselves to everybody else.
Now, does she say that whole quote, or does she stop at "it's still going to be the ocean"? Because I had a hard time deciphering where the quote was and where your comment on the quote.
I should have quoted and then unquoted.
Yes, let's do it without the air quotes, because people are listening. It's a part. Try the spoon quote again. I'm a director, right? And then really end with a crystallization of "it's still the ocean," and then you can comment what you think about it. Ready? What is your mom's favorite quote, Corey?
You can take 1 million spoonfuls from the ocean, and the ocean is still the ocean. End quote.
That's a great quote. How do you feel about that?
I feel really great about it. And the reason we said that was I, at my old job, was only had access to Bing News, right? They didn't, the internet was access denied on everything else. I could only see Bing News, and Bing News would tell me whose birthday it was, who was famous, and if it was their birthday. And I'd see these names, and a lot of them I didn't know who they were, but then it'll say like their net worth, and it's like some ridiculous amount. I'm like, how does this person have this ridiculous amount of money? And I never heard of them, and they're somehow famous on Bing News. And here I am, poverty level, collecting food stamps, but I'm working on these movies, it's like I somehow am comparing myself and limiting myself instead of going, well, yeah, we can have everything we want.
Did you read The Secret? You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, I've read it. I've watched it. I mean, I
didn't read it. I saw like a little YouTube blurb on
it. Well, that sort of mentality, the law of attraction.
Sure.
That mentality's kind of been in my life since I was a kid. When I was real young, my mom used to have these taped. My mom's cousin gave her this book of like cassette tapes.
Sure.
And they were all
it'd be like 8 on each side, and it would be a plastic case that when you fold it, it looks like a book for your the size of an encyclopedia. If you know what that is, but when you open it up, it was 16 cassettes.
Right, and in the cassettes there were lectures from Abraham Hicks that were like they were channeled through this woman, and in it she was talking about the instead of saying and focusing on what it is that you don't want, instead replace what you don't want with what you do want. So instead of saying what I didn't want, I'd always talk about what I'd want instead of that. So instead
it was the secret behind the secret.
Right. So I knew that mentality before they had crystallized it that way. And it's an amazing thing they could do as filmmakers, which, you are, and I am a amateur.
You made some films. No, there's no amateur.
So, yeah, I just really like to step it up. You know what I mean? I really want to take it to the next level where, I'm making my living off of my words and off of my art and, what I can offer, what value it has, instead of giving somebody a $5 Uber Eats order from California tortilla.
I got to tell you, in the era of COVID-19, your Uber Eats vocation is helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's helping you make some money, pay the rent, buy your girlfriend some shiny things. And it's giving people a chance to have a little diversity in their diet while they're stuck under house arrest. So don't poo-poo that. It's a valuable service.
Right. I'm grateful for this being an opportunity that exists for me. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what? We've covered a couple of things today. One, we talked about, the art of just being a human and being present, and you seem to have compassion. You want others to succeed, which is a huge head start. A lot of people, especially men with their ego, the ego gets in the way. But you at a younger age, in your 30s, you seem to have let go of ego. And yet you must have a healthy ego to do a podcast and to be an actor and to put yourself in front of the camera. So I say, God bless you on that. The other thing that I'm going to wrap up here, right?
Yeah.
Is I have to make a conscious effort every day to get out of bed, put my feet on the floor, and say, it's going to be a great day. My default position in life is happiness, and I make a conscious choice. Today's going to be a great day. And then I'll challenge you to do this. Think about what you want in life. What you just said, you want to make a living off your acting and your writing and your words and your podcast. And every day go, what did I do today? What's one thing I did today to get one step closer to that goal?
Yeah.
So when I lost 2 big jobs due to the coronavirus, I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? And that was like a Thursday when it really started crashing. Friday, I was down in the dumps. Saturday, I came to my little den here, and I said, okay, what can I do that doesn't involve leading a film crew?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to make like a master class. I'm going to record some lessons. I'm going to give some away. I'm going to charge for, lengthier ones so I can feed my family. I got 3 kids in college. I got a 4th one that works. And I was like, what have I done today? So that was Saturday. I said, this is what I'm going to do. Then I was like, Sunday, what am I going to do today to move that ball even further down the road? And here I am. It's Tuesday night, and I'm going to record tomorrow.
Right. Right.
And I've never done this before. Right. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I got to do something.
It's an ever changing, ever evolving and adapting process.
Was that too long of a thing that I just did there? You could edit that.
No, I'm not going to edit anything.
You're not going to edit anything. That's laziness.
No, it's
a podcast.
The Japanese, they would break bowls and then they'd glue them back together with gold because there's beauty in our flaws.
Really? I'm going to steal that one. The Japanese. Wait, let me try that. This is how I'm going to tell the next person.
Action.
The Japanese would break bowls and then mend them with gold because they saw the beauty in their flaws.
Cut. That was
dramatic pause. Yeah, dramatic pause at end. Beauty in their flaws? Is that what you, or their cracks or their?
Yeah, they found the dude. You get more lessons out of screwing up. If you get something right every time, you're gonna break real hard when things don't go your way.
You know who needs a huge bowl, Corey?
Hmm.
You know who needs a huge bowl?
Who needs a huge bowl?
That guy trying to spoon all the water out of the ocean.
Good way to tie it together.
To tie it up. Hey man, I gotta go. I gotta go home to dinner.
All right,
this
man.
Has been quite enjoyable. Thank you for having me.
This has been amazing, man. I mean, I'll post this up soon. I'll send you the link. If there's any links you want to make sure you include in the description, please send them my way.
Right.
And be sure to reach out to me. Let me be a resource in any way. If you feel like you need to talk to somebody, if there's anything going on in life that you feel like, whatever.
I want you to text me your email because I'm gonna send you my end of the simulcast, the swapcast.
Okay, great.
You won't use it though, right? Your audio's good on your end.
I hope so. I mean, I can only cross my fingers and hope that I don't have to glue these bowls back together.
Nice. Well played. Okay, man. Thank you so much.
All right.
I'll talk to you later, Corey.
Keep evolving. Thanks, Jordan.
Bye.
Bye.